Hey everybody, how's it going? This is asieloshunyeyeo coming to you guys with another video for my YouTube channel. So, you guys, this video is going to be on Odu and what is Odu, okay? So, before we begin, I have my little phone here. Before we begin, let me remind you all that my book is already out and you, my viewer, should definitely get a copy of my book. It is called Expansion of the Bodum, Orisha the Diaspora, and you can find it on Amazon.com. So please remember, find my book, Expansion of the Bodum by asieloshunyeyeo. Get yourself a copy. It is going to enlighten you on the worship of the Orisha and the tradition of the Lukumi, etc., etc. It is going to be wonderful. So, this video, we are going to be talking about Odu. And what is Odu? This is also a request from one of my godchildren, okay? Odu is the signs. We have different divination systems in Orisha, okay? We have the Obi, which is also known as the coconut for us, and the kola nut in traditional. And then we have the Dilogun, which are the shells, the sacred shells of the Orisha that have been consecrated, that you receive when you receive a particular different Orishas. They will come with what we call a hand of shells. And the hand of shells is the Dilogun, and that is the main oracle of the Orishas. Let me make a side note here, people, for those of you that like to do things on your own because you're so spiritual and so witchy, okay? The Orishas do not speak through the tarot. The Orishas do not speak through the little playing cards. The Orishas do not speak through unconsecrated shells that you consecrated by yourself in your own mystical way, okay? Ocha is based on different protocols. If you are doing things on your own because of your inspiration and your spirituality and your dreams and your things, you are doing a disservice to yourself, to the community, and to the Orisha, okay? So if you like Ocha and you like the Orisha, you like Yemaya, Chango, Batala, Ochun, whomever, do yourself a favor and actually go into the religion. It is hypocritical to say that you like Orisha and then try and do things on your own, on your spirituality and your dreams and your vibration, okay? You're doing yourself a disfavor. You're not honoring the Orisha correctly, and you're not even learning the tradition correctly. So, moving back. So, Odu. Odu are the sacred signs, the energy, or the sacred signs in which the Orishas speak. There are 16 Odums that go from 1 to 16 that are casted, that can be casted, or that can show up when a Dilogun reading is being done. Odu is energy. All the signs are associated to different Orishas. Then we have the composite Odu, which is the second Odu. So there is a total of 256 signs in total that can come out during a reading, okay? Odu is only to be casted, the Dilogun is only to be casted by a competent priest who has been studying and learning under the guidance of a godparent and is already initiated in Orisha, that has been crowned in the religion. And after a good amount of time, then people can begin to cast Odu. So I have a couple of questions here. What are Odu? Odu, again, is the different signs that may show up. It may be Ogana, Ioko, Gunda, Iroso, Oche, Obara, Odi, Eyeunle, Osa, Ofun, Ohuani, Eyilache Bora, Metanla, Marunla, Merinla, Meridilogun. It's 16 signs in total. Okay, each of those signs will correlate to a different ocha or different sets of ocha, and then the composites, the composite side, which will be the secondary sign, would be what brings down the energy further. So, for example, you could have 1-5 or gana chi or gana tonti oche, or you could have 6-5 or bara tonti oche, etc., etc. So, when a reading is being done with the Dilogun, there's always going to be the sign, the main sign, which is actually composed of 2 numbers or 2 castings, and then after that it will go into Ireo or Sobo. It will be determined through Ireo or Sobo whether the sign is coming in positivity or negativity, and then it has to be determined what type of positivity, what type of negativity, and then you have to determine where the positivity or the negativity comes from, and then what solutions or things, etc., that goes into the reading to give to the client or to the person. Okay, so Odu is sacred energy or sacred signs through which the Orishas speak. That is the actual oracle of the Orishas. Okay, not the tarot, not your dreams, not whatever, not the runes or any of that other stuff. I'm also asking you, how long does it usually take for someone to learn Odu? Are we talking months or years? We're talking years. Odu is something that you need to start learning based on your own personal signs. It's the easiest way is to learn your own personal signs that have showed up for you, and then you begin to learn your friends' signs, etc., etc. But Odu will take years for someone to master. For example, people, for those of you out there, I was initiated into Orisha when I was 9 years old. I did not begin casting Odu until I was 13 years in Ocha. Not 13 years in legal age, 13 years in Ocha. Okay? After 13 years was when I started casting Odu. Okay? My problem with people is, not my problem, but my annoyance with people a lot of times is that sometimes you guys want to rush. You don't want to do things the correct way, and then people want to rush. Okay? Odu takes years of training, learning, understanding, development, learning how to manipulate the oracle, etc., 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 before you do it for yourself, and before you most certainly do it for a client. Okay? This is another part here. Why should an Aleyo not purchase a book on Odu? Okay, I'm okay with people purchasing books on Odu or on the Dilogun. You just cannot cast it. It's never too early to begin to learn Odu, because Odu is what gives rise to the entire religion. Everything is birthed in an Odu, meaning that an energy gives rise to everything we do, say, or practice in the religion somehow. So, when you begin to practice Orisha, it is good for you to start automatically learning and understanding Odu, especially when the first times that you sit at the mat to have readings done for you. Those are the first signs that you need to start memorizing and understanding. Okay? The fact that you can learn it from the beginning does not mean that you can cast it. You only are allowed to cast Odu once again after you have been initiated and you have passed your year of white and you have already started studying with someone and you have learned to manipulate the oracle. It takes years before a competent diviner can begin to divine for people. Do not rush your process, and do not try to do your own thing, because you're only harming yourself and the clients and the people that come to you. It is a disservice to you, the people, and the Orishas for people to do their own thing. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say that, but here in the United States, there is definitely a lot of influences of people and things and stuff that they just want to do their own thing, and you're too spiritual for your own good. That happens a lot, people. I'm not just being like mean towards you guys. I'm just saying the truth. Learn Orisha the correct way, or don't mess with our tradition at all. It's not cute for you, it's not cute for us, and it's most certainly not cute for the people that come seeking you, knowing that while you know that you're being fake. Okay? There is such a thing as you being too spiritual that is harming yourself and other people. So, and that goes especially for the witchy, headstrong people. I don't care how many dreams you have had with Yemaya, or how many dreams you have had with Ochu or Batala or whomever. If you do not go through the protocols of the religion, you're neither a priest nor part of the religion, nor can you do workings or readings and stuff for other people. Pay your dues, because there's a lot of sacrifice and a lot of time and a lot of effort and energy that we put into this religion, that it is unfair for some of you to try and come in and just try to make your own thing. Don't do it. I'm tired of saying that over and over again, but it is the truth. Anywho, Odu. When Odu comes to you in the mat, Odu is going to reveal many things. It is going to reveal the main energy that the person is in at this moment, and with that sign, which every sign with 251 of the 256 signs, that has its own sayings, its own teachings, its own rituals, and the orishas that are attached, that speak in that sign. Okay? Plus, on top of that, it is the spirituality of the priest or the diviner that kicks in while the reading is being done, and the spirit of the diviner that kicks in also while the reading is being done, that will speak extra things to the diviner that the person has to know or learn or be aware of. Okay? Odu is very, very encompassing, and it'll go into many areas of your life, and it'll give you always a remedy to find a solution to your problem. A remedy being an ebo or working, an offering, etc., etc., etc. And Orisha, you need to receive whatever. Okay? So, Odu is the sacred signs of the Dilogun through which the Orishas speak. That is the main oracle of the Orisha. It is the Dilogun. The Dilogun can only be casted by a competent priest that has been initiated correctly, that has spent years learning this information, that has memorized most of that information, and that has learned to manipulate the oracle the correct way. If you are a person that likes the Orishas, follow the Orisha religion correctly. Don't come up with your own things. Don't come up with your own little spiritual altar just to show off. And most certainly, don't get yourself a hand of unconsecrated shells to try and cast it or consecrate them yourself. You don't know how they are consecrated, people. And they are most certainly not consecrated in the way that most of you will think that they are. There's a special way in which they are consecrated. You only get a hand of shells when you receive certain orishas, and each orisha will have its own hand of shells as our tradition dictates. Okay? So, anyways, with that being said, Odu, if you ever want a reading, you can definitely contact me. I will be more than glad to do a reading for you. Getting a reading done does not mean that that is marking your head. The marking of your head should only be done once you are established in a house with a legitimate godfather or godmother, and after you have done your preliminary ceremonies. After you have received your lekes, your warriors, olokum, etc., etc., then you mark your head, and then you proceed to gather all the necessary items and things needed for your kariocha, or your actual initiation into priesthood. Okay, my children, I hope this makes sense. I'm not sure if it does or if it doesn't, but this is a warning, I guess, if you want to call it that way, to people that, once again, we have in Orisha protocols and ways in which things are done. And if you like the Orisha, Be part of the religion correctly, not on your own terms. That is hypocritical, and that is not the way things are done. Odu is there to teach us, to guide us, to inspire us, and most certainly it is there to enlighten us. But you must learn first what Odu is and the energy behind each of those Odu and the Orishas and the sayings and the remedies and the rituals that come with those Odus. There are certain Odus that when casted, you have to do certain rituals to honor the energy of that sign that just popped on the mat. Okay, there's some signs that you have to take out of the house. There's some signs that you have to cool down. There's some signs that you have to do specific rituals for because they bring about unwanted energies like death itself. Okay, so again, Odu is the sacred energies of the Dilogun, the sacred signs of the Dilogun through which the Orishas speak, and it should only be done by a competent Orisha priest that has been training, that has learned, and most certainly that is legitimate within the tradition. Okay. Anyways, I hope that this makes somewhat sense to you guys as you watch the video, that you understand it. Let me remind you again that the Orisha does not speak through the tarot, and that whole like tarot of the Orishas and stuff like that, those are pretty cards. That's cute, but that is not what the Orishas use. That is not what you mark the head with. That is not where you get messages from, etc., etc. That is just inventions that people like to do because of neo-paganism and mixtures and stuff, and people trying to be, you know, extra with certain things. I'm okay with the tarot of the Orishas. In fact, I have one or something like that somebody gifted me once. But that is not, that it just sits there. That is not what you use when you talk, when you're talking or trying to communicate with the Orishas. Okay, children, I hope that you all have learned something in this video. I hope it makes sense, and if it doesn't make sense, then leave your comment on the bottom of the video, and I will try to make it sense to you. And if you have another questions, put it in the bottom of the video too. The other thing with Odu also is if you get a book on Odu and you start reading on it, I am personally okay with it. Some other people may not be okay with it. Some other priests may not be okay with it, okay? I'm okay with people learning stuff from an early age that they are allowed to learn. You can definitely learn things. You can just not do certain things. So you can learn all about Oche and what Oche means and what it stands for and this and that and the other. Because we all as priests and priestesses of the Orisha have to learn Odu. Because Odu is one of the major parts of the religion, and it is how the religion is conveyed, transferred, transmitted, taught, etc., experienced, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I hope this video makes sense. Please remember to find me on social media and add me and send me your messages. And if you ever want a reading, an Orisha reading, then please send me a message to it. I will be more than glad to sit down with you, which we can do in different ways. Also, once again, remember to find my book, Expansion of the Bodum, Orisha in the Diaspora by asieloshunyeyeo, yours truly. And if you can buy it, and you can find it on Amazon. And if you ever want beautiful beadwork, you should also hit me up at my email and or on social media, and I will be more than glad to bead something nice and pretty for you. I hope that this video finds you all well. I hope that it's informative. I hope that it clears up your mind once again in some of these topics for those of you out there trying to do Orisha stuff on your own, which is a no-no because you're not doing it correctly. I don't care how spiritual you might think or feel that you are, but when it comes to Orisha stuff, we are a religion, we have rituals, and we do not need you making up stuff, baby girls, okay? So anyways, Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Remember to purchase my book. Hit me up on social media, etc., etc., etc. Leave your comments down the bottom of the thing. I hope you guys have liked this video. And I will see you guys in the next video. With all my blessings to you. Ashe, 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 to. Bye.